Welcome to the Tech Talks Daily Podcast, where you can learn and be inspired by real-world examples of how technology is transforming businesses and reshaping industries in a language everyone can understand. Here is your host, Neil C. Hughes.
Welcome back to the Tech Talks Daily Podcast. Now, mobile DevOps is a big topic at the moment, and one of the companies that are focusing on this area is a company called Bitrise, and they recently announced Arpad Kun as its VP of Engineering and Infrastructure. And in his time at Bitrise so far, he's led the development of their new enterprise-grade platform, which increased businesses' speed to app market by up to 50%, saving them not only time, but money as well. But he's now scaling Bitrise's technology to support enterprises with an all-in-one platform. And that platform is going to automate mobile app workflows, essentially allowing organisations more time to concentrate on things like creativity, customer-centricity and innovation. Again, all big topics this year. And not only that, he has a great backstory too, because he was the chief architect for network services at IBM Cloud and also TPM at Facebook Infrastructure. He's a very clever guy, and we've got a lot to talk about. So buckle up and hold on tight as I beam your ears all the way to Budapest, where Arpad is waiting to speak with us now. So a massive warm welcome to the show. Can you tell the listeners a little about who you are and what you do?
Hi, everyone. I'm honored to be here. My title reads VP of Engineering and Infrastructure at Bitrise, but what I'm actually doing is I'm supporting a group of very talented engineers who are very excited about helping other engineers to be more effective, more efficient, so they can actually focus on what matters most, coding.
And you've mentioned coding now, so I've got to ask, where was your passion for technology come from? What lit that spark in you and put you on this path you're on right now? There's got to be a story there, right?
Yeah, so that's a funny one. I wanted to be an architect. At least it's funny for me, like retrospectively. So I always wanted to build. I'm kind of a builder, I think. And I wanted to create things. And I was learning to be an architect. And then the internet came along and I got a modem, 28.8 kilobit per sec modem. And then I figured that this is amazing. You can plug your phone line and then you get connected and you can talk to all these people and you can read and you can learn. So that's when it started. And then after that, I just started I fell in love with the technology and the security of the thing. So the first big one was firewalls. I was obsessed with firewalls because I was sometimes disconnected from the internet and I didn't want to get disconnected from the internet. So I got obsessed with firewalls and then also Linux and then web serving, DNS, SMTP. So I hosted like websites and mail servers and did everything. I did everything on my own because I was obsessed with the control, how you can do that. So that's how it started.
Oh man, you're bringing back so many flashbacks of my past too. Did you remember the time when you could almost, when you heard the sound of a modem connecting, you knew if it was, what that connection was going to be like just from the sound? Do you remember that?
Absolutely. I was just going to say, can you still whistle it? Because I knew when my modem was bearing the 33.6 on my newer modem or 56 kbps, because you can actually hear it like how many times. And then is also the plus 88.0, which you should, this is why you should always filter your ICMP responses, because they can insert it and then they can basically send a hang-up signal to your modem. I was fascinated by this, that you can do that. So anyway, it's a lot of good memories.
Yeah, absolutely. And of course, that path led you to mobile DevOps company Bitrise that you introduced us to a few moments ago. But for people that are hearing about Bitrise for the first time, can you just tell me a little bit more about the kind of problems that you're solving with technology?
Yeah, so there is a lot of fast forward to get for Bitrise, but absolutely. So Bitrise is helping software developers and companies to be more efficient with helping with their compiling and testing, so they can focus again what matters most, coding. So we are essentially a mobile DevOps company. But what does that mean? So we started building a CI for mobile. The history goes back all the way where Bitrise, this previous company that Bitrise became was a mobile application agency. So engineers, basically mobile engineers, built mobile applications for customers for money. And then we built a lot of different applications for different customers. And we just realized that it really sucked doing all the delivery, all the keeping the consistency, the quality up, all the steps that go into that. Everyone who does this knows. And then we basically realized that we want to actually make this suck less. So the company started to create a CI/CD, very similar to what we had already on the web, which we were really satisfied with. And then we basically created a CI/CD for mobile. And what we found that customers actually really wanted to have that. They wanted to learn more how we do it, and they actually wanted to use this. So that's how all this thing started, because it was a pain. And then the natural transition came after how it became like mobile DevOps. It became like from our customers essentially. So we were inspired by how much it sucked to do mobile development and delivery. And then our customers, once we started the CI/CD and became really successful in that, they inspired us to push even further. So that's where the ship add-on insights came along. So that actually is bringing this space, the mobile DevOps space, not just be just a CI/CD provider, but actually grow into an actual mobile DevOps platform, which we are keep investing and doing and solving these problems for everyone.
And you, of course, have led the development of this new enterprise-grade platform. And I think I should highlight here that it increases businesses' speed to app market by up to 50%, saving them, of course, time and money. But can you expand on that and maybe provide a use case just to bring it to life for people listening today and how it might work in their world too?
So yeah, this was a fun story. So I joined Bitrise because I fell in love with the problem of speeding up mobile, basically the cycle of getting more feedback on, is the code that I wrote good? Is it not? How can I know where it will cause an issue, etc., etc. So that everything that goes into that. So it was very interesting for me, and I love to help other engineers to be more efficient. That's just how I felt. And then in the second or third week, I was talking to one of our customers. I was just supporting the infrastructure teams. And then I was told by the customer that, hey, so in order for us to make this really viable, it has to be twice as fast as it is today. So that was like good, okay. So how do we go from this? And then we started thinking, and I looked at what our infrastructure looked like at that, because that was essentially at that point, that was an infrastructure play. So I looked at that and then started to think like how we can actually live up to this expectation. And it used to be like, I shouldn't say company names, but it was like a off-the-shelf hypervisor, typical IT infrastructure with shared storage and fiber channel and all these things with older Mac Pro hardware. And our customers were already using like much faster Mac Minis at that point. And also I had the strong feeling that Apple will do something. At that point, the M1 was still not a thing or announced or anything, but it was already like suspicious that they will do something that will probably not help third-party operating systems, other operating system other than macOS to run. And basically, we in the end, fast forward, we built basically a cloud on top of Mac Minis with our own control plane. And we took barebone Mac Minis and we built our own virtualized cloud that is much more efficient, faster than the previous infrastructure was. And solving that problem, making it something very similar how large cloud providers do cloud scheduling and things like that was a lot of fun. And I found a lot of joy in that.
And before you came on the podcast today, I was reading how you're also scaling Bitrise's technology to fully support enterprises with a new all-in-one platform. So can you tell me a little bit more about how that platform will automate mobile app workflows and ultimately help organizations concentrate on things like creativity, customer-centricity and innovation, because they're such hot topics right now, aren't they?
Absolutely. So might be surprising you, but I think it is not even really about the all-in-one platform. Yeah. It is actually about the mobile development as is. It is today. It is very complex. It's a very complex system with very different people, very many different people who have different hats and who are different stakeholders, who are doing different things and taking part of it. There is still a lot of manual stuff going on here and there. And I think that someone has to help companies to take control over their mobile application development and delivery and the life cycle and everything in a way that you can actually see what is happening. Because I think that most companies don't have that ability. And the hyperscalers do. The very large companies who have invested a lot in creating their own CI for mobile, very specifically for their use case, and they have very tightly integrated systems. They have the ability to do this. However, most companies who do not have that, they are going to always behind. They are going to be always behind that capability of understanding, and also of course the feedback loop and everything, but also what understanding, like if I want to deliver a feature, how does that go through the system and what effect it has in the end, and where are the steps and where are they in the life cycle? I think it's a problem that is worth solving, and that's what we have to basically give the understanding to customers what happens before the app goes into the app store and what happens after.
And when we first began our conversation, you shared your origin story. You were incredibly modest. You did say we fast forwarded to Bitrise, but again, I think we've got to mention here that you've served as chief architect for network services at IBM Cloud and TPM at Facebook Infrastructure. So, bearing all that in mind and the journey that you've been on here, what would you say are the biggest lessons that you've learned in your?
So this is like a very humbling one. So I learned the hard way let's start with the cliche, like, do and work as closely to your customers as possible and listen to them and understand them. And that will give you a lot of value and deliver value to them in short iterations. But you will hear that a lot. So my personal story is I fell in love with with a solution to a problem that I came up with. And my suggestion is that do not fall in love with your solution. And I was really focused on to basically push the solution. And I actually still in love with that. And I wanted to really make this something that will be super useful for a lot of companies, which I got feedback that, this is super useful, but I really forgot to focus on other areas, like how much money customers are willing to pay for that. How will the ecosystem, the industry around that, will they actually tolerate it, or will they just prevent me doing that? And things, a lot of other things. So what I learned is it is better to fall in love with the journey of evolving the solution instead of falling in love with the solution itself.
Absolutely. Love that. Something beautiful in that. And your passion for the subject really shines through in our conversation today. And of course, we are at that time of the year where everyone's trying to determine what trends are going to dominate the new year ahead. So what trends excite you in the mobile app development space? Is there anything that interests you, excites you, or you're just keeping a close eye on?
So honestly, the space itself.
Yeah.
So if I look at it, one of the most sought after skills today, mobile developers. Mm-hmm. So that itself, I think it should be exciting. So helping them is an exciting thing because we have a lot of impact with that. It's really fun to work with small and large companies and help them impact. So I'm excited just about being in this space right now and push this forward and push the envelope and creating something that brings a lot of value for everyone. So that's just my first, like, at the high level. But then also, like, something that I found quite interesting in terms of the trend are the super apps. So especially in Asia, you can see, I'm not sure if I can mention a few company names, Tencent or WeChat, Grab. So if you look at the share of downloads, the active users, the revenue that these companies, and compared that to all others, the top 10 is getting higher and higher, and then everything is focusing in the top 10. So I wonder, where does this end? And where are the boundaries of these super apps? So how do you grow after you actually define a category and you completely own that category, where do you go after that? How do you go from there? So do you have to maybe go into some other adjacent application spaces and start competing in that area to grab even more areas? So I assume it makes sense that the West will also see something similar, or we could maybe see that we already see that. So another example is Uber, who can order a taxi now or food. And of course, you can still order rides from private people. They will still do that, but they are already expanding into other directions. So that is something that I find we're going to see probably more and more, and how it will shape the space. That is one thing. And the other is the metaverse. Of course, everyone talks about the metaverse, and but I'm really curious how it will affect the mobile developers and the space in a whole. Yeah, these are the things that I'm monitoring and excited about.
And what about at Bitrise? We're here in a new year. Is there anything that you can share about the road ahead for you guys and what you're going to be focusing on? I appreciate you probably can't share too much, but is there anything you can?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. So we are just focusing on fixing mobile development and delivery. So then finally someone fix it. But yeah, I mean, we have a few things like the insights that is coming, and we improve that. So visibility into what is happening in your CI, CD pipeline and all the steps. But that is boring stuff. You can find it all. You can follow us on Twitter and see. Also check the website, etc. But what I think is more exciting is that we are building the future of mobile development. That's what I feel. That's what I'm passionate about, and that's why I'm here. That's why I'm focusing on helping this. I also said madness, but then I already said it. So I have to end and bring visibility and understanding what the heck is going on, because I think there are a lot of people out there who are like me, who actually like to understand what is happening in their organization or company. And also, on the other hand, I want to help create heroes in these companies who can actually give this visibility with what we are building.
Well, I've loved chatting with you today. And as we come full circle now, before I let you go, I think it's time to have a little bit of fun with you. And I'm going to ask you, what is a particular song or piece of music that has inspired you in your career, or just helps you get your head in the zone before going on stage, or just reminds you of your career in technology? What song would it be and why? And we'll add it to the Spotify playlist. I'm not sure if there is a song out there just made up of a 56k modem sound, but what would your song be if there isn't?
Actually, there was a song now you mentioned that had that song in that. I was really, I don't know the title of it, but there was one that was like, oh, I know that song. So anyway, honestly, I'm super shy about this, because when I grew up, I really liked electronic music, and everyone I knew, they liked rock and metal and heavy metal, and they looked at me like, so it was, I got trained that I shouldn't tell what music style I like. But I do have one, and that is Sansa from Gareth. I like trance, and actually it's a countryman of yours, I think, Gareth Emery, and the title of the song is Sansa, Sansa.
Awesome. I don't think I've heard that one. I'm going to look forward to listening to that as soon as we finish this podcast, and I will add it to our Spotify playlist. But finally, for anyone listening that would just like to find out more information about Bitrise and that solution that you fell in love with, what's the best way of doing that and finding you all online?
So you can, as always, you can check out our website, bitrise.io. That's a bit. RIRISE.io, Bitrise. You can find me on LinkedIn, Arpad Kun, or at @Arpad Kun on Twitter. Happy to chat. And we are also hiring shamelessly. I plug in there. It's something I'm really passionate about. We are building here something really cool with really passionate people. So I want to expand the team with people who are as passionate as I am about helping others be more efficient. So hit me up if you want to chat.
Awesome. I'll have those links to the show notes. If anybody is listening around the world that would like to check out what roles you've got available, I urge them to do so. So I've loved chatting with you today. Yes, about the mobile app development space and the work that you're doing, but more than anything, your very personal story, the journey that you've been on, and how really, at the very heart of it all, you fell in love with the solution. And I think there's something quite beautiful in that. So thank you for taking the time to come on and share that with me today.
Thank you so much for having me. Yeah, I'm honored. And have a great day, night, morning, everyone who is listening to this. Cheers.
What a great guy. And Arpad has been added to my official list of cool guys that I'd like to share a beer with at some point. So a big, big thank you to Arpad for taking the time to sit down and share his experience in the development space and discussing the importance of platforms that streamline workflows. Also, developers can keep up with the growing demands of consumers, not to mention app stores. And also for speaking on what is on the horizon for Bitrise and mobile app development as a whole, and sharing his story too. A great episode. Love chatting with Arpad today. I hope you enjoyed it as much as I did. But that's it for today. So keep your messages coming over to techblogwriter@outlook.com, my website, techblogwriter.co.uk. You'll find links to all my social channels at the bottom there too. Whatever it is, questions, insights, thoughts, whatever it is, send them over to me and I'll get straight back to you. But that's it for today, so thank you for listening as always, and until next time, don't be a stranger.
Thank you for listening to the Tech Talks Daily Podcast with Neil C. Hughes. Remember, technology works best when it brings people together.